Hey y'all, I wanted to talk about Hello Stranger. This is an FMV style game. It's meant to play as a single player experience and played through multiple times. I've reviewed an FMV game before in the past and had a good time with it. I don't play them that often, but I always kind of have a good time when I do. As a person who also enjoys films and stuff like that, it's always fascinating to me in terms of like how they make these games, because there's tons of FMV games coming out. A lot of them are coming from the same company, and I'm always curious how long it takes for them to produce these and shoot these and things like that. Now, this one had a lot of different actors in it. I felt like there was a lot of representation in there, which was really nice. So for this game, I played it a couple times, and it was one of the few times where I felt like the path of the story diverged a lot. Sometimes in the FMV games I played in the past, there would be an extra scene or two, or the way the story ended would be slightly different. But in the couple playthroughs I had, after like the beginning portion, the whole rest of the experience in one story I did versus another story path was like completely different. Even in terms of what was happening to the main character, there was a difference in terms of just characters represented in the story. Like if you pick one path here, there'd be one character that he's a little bit closer with. If you pick another path, he's a little bit closer with this other character. So I got to see like two different characters that never interact with each other and are only available depending on what storyline you pick. The story is in the near future. The main character has an AI tech, kind of like a Google Home in his house. And from the very beginning, you get to choose what kind of voice you want this thing to have. And you play this main guy throughout the rest of the game as he's about to go out for a variety of different reasons depending on the path you choose. Eventually he gets caught in this game, and the game he has to complete online. If he doesn't fully complete it, he dies. Depending on the path you take, this game goes multiple rounds, so you have to complete 3 rounds of this game. So as long as you fully finish at least like 2 of them, you're kind of good to go. And this character that just shows up is like wearing a mask. And the way you come across this character is that the main character uses kind of a Omegle sort of video chat feature, and he uses that to talk with people. And you might come across other characters along your route. Some you might see again that return, some you might see just once, and that's it. It was very interesting. Even as I was experiencing the game, I would come across a character that I hadn't met before or that got no intro towards. But I know if I played a different way, I might see this character earlier on in the game and get more of an intro as to who they are. And one of the games they has is like rock, paper, scissors, and other ones are full mini games that they made for this. This game ramps up the style of game though a little bit more. I had the option of choosing a shooter or a beat 'em up, and when I went with the beat 'em up option, it had like a fully developed beat 'em up game in there. It was only one level, so you weren't stuck in there forever, but you know, you could die and restart back at the beginning of the level. The game gives you multiple chances. And if you die throughout the entire experience at any point, it'll reset you to the earlier checkpoint. So if you accidentally make a wrong move or a wrong mistake, the game does a pretty good job of resetting you, so you know, oh, I'll pick this other option instead, and it'll get me to the next checkpoint. And after you go through the experience of the whole game once, you do get the option to skip previously seen motion video. So like the beginning of the game, you can kind of speed that up a little bit more, and then once you get into the newer stuff, you're not able to skip through it. But it was interesting to see. And the only other time I couldn't really skip through the game was like during some of the death scenes. and I'm not sure why that was the case. There was a particular time where I died quite a bit, and I saw the same death scene like 4 or 5 times. It was getting frustrating because I was like, oh, I was able to skip these other scenes I saw before, but this one I can't skip. And so that was the only issue I had as far as like scene skip goes. I thought the characters were interesting. I thought the people were decent enough acting in it. You know, I don't expect the highest quality voice or just general acting in this kind of games. You know, I expect FMV games to be a little bit over the top with people's acting, but it felt pretty good and more real and grounded than most, I felt like. Having said that, it has its goofy moments too, and that's what the charm about these FMV games are. They sometimes get a little too silly and absurd, but you have a good time on it. This game definitely has a lot of commentary to it in terms of just online video chats, even as far as game development itself. There's one route I took where it kind of hits the nail on the head and kind of wants to make a point about just game development and the gaming industry as a whole right now and people who work in it, which I found very interesting. Most of the game you could play with just mouse and keyboard. You have 2 options from the start in terms of one to be more interactive with actual game elements, in which you would need to use controllers. So that's where I experienced the beat 'em up. You can actually play these games. It recommends using a controller to do so. Or you can go another route, which I also did, where there was no actual gaming in it. It was just picking and choosing the response that you have in a lot of visual novels or things of that sort. So it was just clicking stuff, and that was it. Between the 2 options, I wouldn't say one got me faster than the other one necessarily, just because the story routes I took were so drastically different. It was kind of hard to compare, oh, is it faster to just do point and click or play games with the controller? It just really depends on how skilled you are as a gamer as well. It could take just as long either way. And the story itself doesn't take too long. I would say maybe an hour or so to get through the whole experience. Maybe a little bit less if you don't die so much. If you've never done a lot of FMV games, I would say this is actually one of the better ones I think that I've played, and I would recommend checking this one out first just to get an intro on what FMV games are like. And then if you enjoy when you play here, then delve into some of the other ones that are out there. If you do choose to play it, then make sure you at least play it a couple times, because you are gonna get a vastly different experience each time you play it. And there's characters and moments that you don't want to miss out on. You're always interested in going back and seeing how far does it go in this direction or this direction. I'm glad this genre is still kind of around to experience, and that multiple different countries and people are making them, whether it's a game in Korea or Japan or America or the UK. The fact that this is a genre that's still relevant in a lot of countries, I think is really cool, because they all bring a different flavor to it.